So now that we are in the run-up to Year 8 Season 3 of Rainbow Six Siege, which is going to be bringing us a brand new South Korean operator, I thought now was the best time to take a look into the lore of Vigil and Dokkaebi. Now the reason why I think this is an appropriate time is because if we take a look at the past when we went to returning countries, the existing operators from those countries would play a part in the story. For example, when we went back to Japan when they released Azami, Hibana played a part in that story, and Hibana and Azami worked together back in the police force. And just a season ago in Operation Commanding Force, when we went back to Brazil, we met the new operator Brava, who is the cousin of Capitão. So considering that we are going back to South Korea next season, the chances that Dokkaebi and Vigil are at least related to this operator in some way, shape or form, doesn't have to be blood relations, but they could have worked together, know who each other are. I'm going to be quite surprised if they're strangers to each other. And we've already made a lore video for Vigil, and this is going to be the one for Dokkaebi. And if you do go on to enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, and I need all the support we can get. Without further ado, let's get into this. So Dokkaebi's real name is Grace Nam. She was born in Seoul in South Korea. From a young age, she would exceed expectations and would even scavenge and get hold of spare parts to build her own computers. Although she was extremely skilled, she would end up in a lot of trouble with her teachers by basically running her tongue at them. If someone said something that she disagreed with, she'd tell them. However, she would eventually manage to soften up her image whilst keeping that spirit inside of her. Her skills in math and technology earned her a National Academic Excellence Scholarship at the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. Here, after graduating, she would actually enlist in the Republic of Korea Army. This is where her skills with technology would get her assigned to the National Intelligence Service. However, although this is where it seems like her skills were best suited, she wanted a change from the office lifestyle. It is here where Dokkaebi would earn her place in the 9th Special Forces Brigade, also known as the Ghost Corps. Here she would train in mountaineering, survival techniques, and guerrilla warfare. Being highly adaptable, she often utilized a creative, unorthodox approach to get her results. This is where her skills would become noticed by the United States Forces Korea and the 707th Special Mission Battalion. After being encouraged to focus on breaching defenses and exploiting weaknesses in networks, Dokkaebi was quickly recruited to the 707th Special Mission Battalion alongside a specialist going by the codename of Vigil. However, it is here where she would inadvertently butt heads with Major General Koo, an old soldier guard with political ties all the way up to the Blue House, which is the official residence of the Korean president. Here, General Koo would try and make Dokkaebi's life as difficult as possible, and would attempt to prevent her from exploiting her full potential. During training exercises with the SAS, Dokkaebi heard about Rainbow, and at Rainbow were looking for 2 operatives to join them from the White Tigers. Now, at the very top of this list was Vigil. He was basically a star soldier for them, and it was an easy decision. However, this was something Dokkaebi wanted to do, and she knew that Major General Koo would have never put her on that list. And so, Dokkaebi used her skills, infiltrated the system, and put herself on that list. And in 2017, Dokkaebi and Vigil would become official members of Rainbow. This would surprise Major General Koo, who is not happy about it at all. Because of this, Koo started to actively try and get Dokkaebi expelled from the White Tigers in an attempt to jeopardize her position in Rainbow. Because of this, Dokkaebi would start to suspect that Vigil was a spy for Koo, and felt like that was the only reason he was there. However, both operators would make their way into Team Rainbow and be valuable assets to the team. Dokkaebi would also start working closely with Echo in the R&D lab, and start engineering work on new countermeasure technologies. And whilst in Rainbow, Dokkaebi would sort of be this new wave of younger soldiers who use methods which aren't as traditional. This is highlighted in the Hammer and Scalpel cinematic, where we see Thatcher, an old hardened SAS soldier who is more hands-on, and when it comes to technology, he'd rather disable them, butt heads with Dokkaebi, a younger soldier who would rather use that technology against the enemies. This was also one of the first cinematics we got, and it really helps give us a dive into these 2 operators, and it's also just visually very enjoyable to watch.
Attention all operators, 30 seconds remaining in the scenario.
Fucking hell.
Session 2 participants, please report to room B4 for hot wash.
Don't worry. Maybe we'll get it right next time.
2 more seconds and we would have had eyes in the room.
If they were already on cameras, that's 2 seconds too slow. Piece of advice. No like that.
He has no respect for anything. If it doesn't fire a bullet or explode, he dismisses it. Look at this.
Oh,
no
careful.
lag.
My wife has a strict policy about knives in the house, and I have a strict policy about not pissing off my wife.
I know Thatcher is supposed to be the best, but he's a hammer, and I'm just a nail to him.
Sit. Sit. It won't bite. You're angry. That's good. Anger can be a powerful tool, but we're terrified of losing control, of embracing it. And that's why I envy Mike. This isn't about how Thatcher's been treating you, is it?
I'm just tired of trying to prove myself.
It'll take time for some, but you are nobody's nail. You're much too sharp for that. Rainbow needs people who will challenge the future of the unit. And those who will remind it of its roots. It needs people who can be the scalpel and the hammer.
Thank you. 6.
6. She left some very large shoes to fill, didn't she? I'll tell you what. For now, please call me Harry.
And one thing that was in that cinematic was our introduction to Harry. That was the first time we saw him. And I feel like now's a good time to talk about the psychological report which Harry done on Dokkaebi. And what Harry says is, Grace Nam is playful, clever, serious, and reckless as her codename Dokkaebi implies. She's also mischievous. Recent reports say she's been pushing herself beyond her limits, and the team has expressed concern that she's overconfident. Added to that, we have past disciplinary reports stating that her actions have been unorthodox, which I can believe. I was there when she hacked the system. I saw the promise when other people wanted her punished. Nam's a talented operator, but it's important to note that she's one of the younger Rainbow recruits and has little combat experience. This job is intense and the stakes are high. Some days I have the impression she would rather be behind her computer, controlling things from where no one can touch her. But she wants to improve, she wants to change, and to do that, she has to challenge herself. I'm certain the overconfidence is about fear. She's afraid she doesn't belong, that she isn't good enough. As for past disciplinary hearings, the shortcomings are with the commanders, not with Nam. A talented hacker isn't just someone who's good with code. They're a creative thinker, and with the ability to see connections the rest of us can. Yes, there's recklessness. Yes, there's an element of bravado, but whatever else people may see, they must also admit that there's a method of Nam's madness. When I asked about her childhood, she boasted of schoolyard fights and described the extreme academic pressures she faced. The school would shame parents by publicly comparing their children. She carried this burden of expectation through her life. So to have Specialist Vigil chastise her creates a friction that Nam will have to address. She told me her grandparents introduced her to Buddhism when she was little and that she's recently begun visiting the temple again. I'm reassured. This is her way to cleanse her mind and spirit. Her pursuit of inner balance will allow Nam to achieve her full potential. Her bluster may irritate operators such as Hibana, but I say let her be. And that was Dr. Harry Pandey, director of Rainbow at the time, doing a psychological report on Dokkaebi. Now, the little arc between Dokkaebi and Thatcher would continue a little bit in the first Tournament of Champions cinematic. Here we see Thatcher fighting Kavera in a 1v1 fight. Kavera gets the upper hand and it looks like it's over for Thatcher. Here Dokkaebi would come in and save Thatcher, and Dokkaebi and Thatcher would have a nice little moment together, sort of showing that they respect each other. I also want to talk about a device evaluation which Dokkaebi done on her logic bomb, which is her gadget, and Dokkaebi says the following. 6 wants everyone to learn how the others are using their gadgets, and his R&D director Mirror wants them ASAP. So here I am. Not sure about giving away my programming secrets, but since I doubt most can understand anyway, here goes. My logic bomb is known as slag code because it looks like bits and pieces of waste code. All programs above a certain size have cruft, expressions that used to serve a purpose but now just take up space. As my professor said, wet code is easiest to hide in, but dry is easier to exploit. It slips into the operating system of a device and executes a command that I designed. It's smart enough to adapt and self-replicate to survive. Any defender with a phone is vulnerable. Ring ring ring, location revealed. And once that code executes, boom, CCTV hack surveillance. I'm all eyes. I've heard that there are some counter hacks in the world and that Mute's working on jamming it. Don't get too smug, Mute. Whatever you do, I'll find a way around it. And that was Dokkaebi talking about her gadget. And as time would go on in Nighthaven with the part from Rainbow, Harry would separate Rainbow into 4 separate squads. Here she would be part of the Viperstrike squad where she would be led by Hibana, and as well as this she would be working alongside Thatcher. I feel that is quite like a nice little end to the arc of Thatcher and Dokkaebi, where they've kind of made up, respect each other, and now they work together on the same squad. And so that is the story of Dokkaebi. If you haven't seen my Vigil one, I recommend watching that as well. I do have a feeling that these 2 operators will maybe make an appearance in the next season. Heck, even maybe one of them will. Just because that does seem to be the trend for returning countries, and as well as that, we do know that the tower, which is the training facility in South Korea, is going to play a part in that season, since Deimos now knows that the new operator is training there, and it seems like that is probably going to be a target. But with that tower being set in Seoul, which is in South Korea, and Dokkaebi being from there, if Deimos is going to be targeting that tower, which is in the middle of a civilian area, then I have a feeling that Dokkaebi might want to get involved. And so if you did enjoy that video, be sure to drop it a like and check out the visual lore video if you haven't already. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe if you are new, and stay tuned for more Rainbow Six lore. Have an incredible rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.